Is it time to leave this company yet? Like, those are questions I know that we all have. When should I leave my company? Is it time for me to leave? They pissed me off one time. I gotta go. Like, when do I know it's actually time for me to take my exit? I'm Michelle from C Code if you don't know, and I talk about tech, engineering, and just career tips. So make sure you subscribe as we're going to go through this journey together. When is it time for you to actually leave your company? Would you be shocked if I told you that most people leave their company because of lack of growth? And I don't mean necessarily even just promotion wise, but lack of growth in the skill sets. Like, they don't feel that they're growing in their skill, they're growing in their job or their company. And that's when most people decide it's time to go. So I'm gonna tell you things that have helped me to know when it's time for me to leave a company. And honestly, the number one thing that has told me was lack of growth. And mine was lack of technical growth. If I was at a company and I did not feel like I was growing in the role, or, and this one is a really important one because I feel like people don't realize that. If I felt like what I was working on was too specific for that company, it was not transferable to any other company. Like, if what I'm working on is just like, it could be unique, cool. I was at Lockheed, worked on some stuff with sonar. I thought that was really cool, but what am I gonna do with that in another company? Like, are the skill sets transferable? Now, some of the skills that I did gain there were very transferable, but then sometimes there were things that I felt like were too company specific. And that's when I was like, okay, I think that there's not much room for me to grow and then also be able to leave. Like, I want to make sure the skills that I'm developing at a company are skills that I can take elsewhere in case I need to. So lack of growth when it comes to projects, opportunities with the projects, and just technical growth. Is the company not using, like, if there's something that's really popular within my my actual job, so like say you're in DevOps and you want to be more of a cloud person, you want to learn the cloud, but your company doesn't use that, and you know that that's where the future is going, then maybe it's time for you to go to a company that's going to allow you to develop those skill sets. So now this one I feel like is kind of obvious, but I'm going to say it anyways. It's also time to leave when it's a toxic work environment. And it doesn't even have to be toxic, like somebody's toxic specifically to you, but it could just be like the company has no stability. Their leadership just is not organized. It's just, I remember one of the companies that I was at before, by the time that I got hired, I had, until 1 year at the company, I had 4 different managers. Managers just kept leaving. And I was like, listen, maybe they know something that I don't know. Like, maybe they're aware of something that I don't. And so that is also another thing. Toxic work environment, whether it's coworkers, whether it's just instability when it comes to the overall company, the business and everything. So that's also another sign that it might be time for you to look at other opportunities. Burnout. If you feel burnt out from your company, which I'm glad to say that it's actually never been a reason why I've left a company. But if you have ever felt like burnt out from a company, like you just are like, I have nothing, then honestly, it's just time for you to go, because your mental health, your mental state of mind is actually just important. And another one that kind of goes with burnout, but also goes with the lack of growth, is there's like an internal clock that I have that is like, I've given you everything that I can give you, and I feel like you've given me everything that I can get from you. So, and I kind of have that feeling at a company. And it's just like, and that's when I'm like, yeah, it's time for me to go. Like, I really feel like I've learned everything that I'm going to learn from you as a company. You've already given me all of that. And I also have nothing left to give to you. Like, I don't see anything else that I can give to you as an employee. And I don't see anything else that you can give to me as a company. But that's like an internal feeling. I don't really know how to tell you how to measure that. But it's just like something in me is like, okay, that's it. The relationship is over. It's not mutually beneficial anymore. So it's time for me to start looking for another company. So as I'm confirming that it's time for me to go, I do some self-reflection. I see, am I only here because I'm scared to start a new job? Am I scared of what a new role, a new company would look like? What is the reasons why I'm still here? Do I feel like there's any more for me to give? And is there anything more for me to gain from them? And I really think that, is there any more for me to gain from them? It sounds selfish, but that's really what you have to think about it, because it's a transaction when you're working. So am I gaining anything else? Obviously my paycheck, but am I gaining anything else, like knowledge-wise, for my career? So I do that self-reflection. I talk to people around me. I let my peers know. And I'm like, hey, I think I might be looking for a new job soon. Like, I think I'm getting the itch. I'm getting ready. Like, I can tell it's coming. And I kind of let my peers know. And once you let people know that you might be open to stuff, when they see job openings and opportunities, then that's when they start to send things to you. I also reevaluate my long-term goals. So I look to see, does me staying here go with my long-term goals? Like, am I still on the path towards that, or do I need to go to a new company in order to reach that? And that could be financial reasons. It could be long-term goals as career-wise, like what level I said I wanted to be at a certain year, age, whatever. And it also could just be skill-wise. I am more of a skill person. I really want to be a subject matter expert in a certain type of subject. So when I'm going from a company to company, I'm like, that's why I say what am I getting from them? Because am I being able to be taught under somebody who knows how to teach and is really specialized in what I want to be specialized in? Am I gaining that? If I'm not gaining it, then I don't know if I can stay that long. I don't know how much I'm going to be able to get out of you, because that's really what I'm looking for. So now that you know and you decided that it's time for you to go to another company, what does preparation look like? You don't just jump and be like, all right, it's time for me to go to another company. Bye. Put in my 2 weeks. No, you still got to work. I always say, like, don't go and leave your job until you have another offer. Like, unless you got it like that. But for the most of us, don't leave your job unless you have another one on the table. During that time period, you've decided that you're going to go look for another job. Now it's time to skill up. So while you're at work, you now are looking, you're interviewing, you're applying, which means you've updated your resume already. You've already told people that you're open. You updated your LinkedIn profile, and then you are picking up different projects at your job that can also elevate your skill sets. So you're going to elevate your skill sets by studying things at home, but then you start to look, see if your company offers little small different side projects. I forgot the name of it, but when I was at Lockheed, you could basically work with a different department on a project. Like, I wish I could remember the name, but like it was like a skills type building thing. So you could pick up another project, even though it's not the department you work looking for. So that way you can gain different skills in something else. So because I knew that I wanted to program, I wanted to do more like development, but cloud type work, I went and did a project with a different business unit. And I was able to do that 2 days out of the week. And I was able to get some more skill sets from that. And then also when I went home, I was learning. I was like, okay. And then I would interview. And when I would interview, I would also look to see, what are they asking? Because sometimes I'll get on an interview and they say, hey, do you know this? And then I would take note. Even if I didn't know it and I was talking about it, I would then go back and make sure I'm like, okay, a lot of companies are asking for X, Y, Z. That means I need to know X, Y, Z. So I would even start off with just interviewing with companies who aren't really your top choice, but you know that they're hiring for that type of role. So like say company Y is not really what you're looking for, but they have the role that you're looking for, but you don't want to work for that company. I would apply to some of their roles and literally just practice interviewing with them. And then some of the things that they say, like, hey, do you have a skill set in this? You can then go and be like, okay, so I know companies like company X that I actually want is probably going to ask for that type of skill set. So I want to make sure I have that by the time I do get an interview with company X. So you decided to leave, you prepared yourself, you've been interviewing, you got your offer, and now you are leaving out the door. Okay, but we just don't do it that way. So when you're gonna leave, listen, this world is small. This tech engineering world, small. People you've worked with at one place might become a manager at another. Somebody who was a VP might end up merging company. Like, you really just don't know what the future has to hold. So don't burn the bridges. Like, don't burn your bridges. You never also know if you might want to later on go back to that company. And I know you're like, I want to leave that company for a reason, but you may want to go back to the company, but not that business unit that you were under. So, or you might have friends who are going to want to get a job at that company. So you want to be able to still have your old contacts and be able to be like, hey, I know somebody who's interested in a job here. Now, if you burn your bridges and you said, I'm out, I never liked y'all in the first place, they're not going to give a referral. So when you're leaving the company, give them a proper notice. Also do a knowledge transfer, and also just be kind. Don't burn your bridges as you're going, because you never know who you're going to be working with again in the future. Like, when I tell you it's a small world, especially if you're in so the private sector, small. Defense sector, small. Like, everybody, these are some small people's names. Like, people might say somebody's name. They're like, don't work with her. When she was leaving, she did X, Y, Z. So like, make sure as you're going about leaving your company, you're doing it in a respectful way. And I understand that honestly, people, like, they could have treated you bad, but still, don't set the place on fire before you go, because you never know like what is going to happen in the future. To be honest, leaving a company could feel really scary because you don't really know if you made the right decision until you've actually gone to the next company. So it's like, am I making the right decision leaving? is this the right decision? Should I stay? Should I go? And you really don't know if that should I go was the correct thing until you get there. But trust your gut. Trust that you went through every single thing and you made the decision on whether or not I should leave the company. And be open to the possibilities that a new company can have. Be open to the growth and starting over at a new company. Well, I hope this information was helpful. If it was, make sure you like, subscribe, and comment below. And see you guys next time.